Hello there. Welcome back to Tales from Tosche Station. Everyone have a good week? Good week? Yeah? Uh-huh. Awesome. Good to hear it. So, the kids keeping score at home. It is currently 1-0 Bad Batch. Hunter took out Boss in the last episode. If you haven't seen it yet, look down there and you're going to see the link to the last episode. And then when you get done, come back here. We'll talk about what happens in this episode. So, what are we? Who's going up? Who's going up against each other this week, Jake? Well, guys, I'll tell you. We got Fixer versus Tech and Echo. Let's see who wins this death match, shall we? Hey, Chewie, do me a favor. Punch this thing. Let's get into it. All right. Deathmatch time. Let's go. First up, it's Fixer, or RC1140. Second in command of Bad Batch, and was the team's go-to for anything regarding slicing, bypassing security, and he was very by the numbers. He's got this weird tick of calling his teammates by their clone designation numbers, their RC dash numbers, and not their names. He was also an elite soldier. He was an expert in in slicing, unarmed combat tactics, infiltration, recon, mechanical repairs, and his go-to weapon was a DC-17M. And in regards to his intelligence, he was their go-to for anything technology wise. And he could slice anything. He could slice anything, get into anything, and get Delta Squad out of a tight spot. And he could outthink most of them outside of maybe Boss, which is the reason he was second in command. Now, let's get to the Bad Batch. Tech CT-9902. The brains of Clone Force 99. His genetic mutation was intelligence. He was an expert in just about everything. Tactics, slicing, data analysis. He was very talkative and very, very communicative. I would say, honestly, from watching the entire series, I would say he's more OCD than anything, just on the way he talks and the way he acts. Compared to the other members of the Bad Batch, he isn't very combat savvy, although he's still a very, very capable fighter in his own right. Tech has a knack of noticing small ticks and details and understanding a combatant better than themselves sometimes. And as far as gear goes, he had a translator in his helmet that could. He essentially had C-3PO in his helmet. He could translate basically any alien language that the Bad Batch came across. He's also got a computer installed on the forearm of his armor, allowing him to do a variety of different functions. He also had a data pad installed as well, so he could slice into other tech, and his weapons of choice were twin DC-17 blasters. So with Tech, he's basically a walking, talking supercomputer. He's the best way I would be able to just describe Tech is what if the way that, at least the way that I took him as, was C3PO, but a clone. Like, that's kind of um how I took it. He's just extremely smart. I mean, his brain's a friggin' supercomputer, essentially. And I mean, throughout the Bad Batch series, we see him. I mean, he comes up um with the Imperial code slicing. He's the one that originates that. He's the one that think that that thinks it up and then teaches it to Hera, and then Hera teaches it to the entire rebellion. So that's we've got Tech to thank for that. Um, so I just yeah, that's just how I take how I take Tech. He's just kind of C3PO with a blaster, and his comrade Echo CT 1409, former ARC trooper of the 501st Legion, the last living member of Domino Squad. He was seemingly killed to the during the mission to the Citadel, and he was then captured by the Separatists, and they transformed him into a cyborg. They used him as counterintelligence remotely on Scato Minor, um, as a way of counterintelligence to beat back the armies of the Republic, and to fight against the clones and their Jedi commanders, until Rex noticed the battle plans that they were using seemed very close to 501st, some old 501st moves that him and Tech thought of. I mean, him and Echo thought of together, and that tipped him off that he might be alive. So him, Anakin, and the Bad Batch ends up rescuing him, and at the end of that arc, Echo joins the Bad Batch. As far as combat, Echo's cybernetic enhancements allow him to interface with uh, uh, enemy tech, whether it's computers or other devices, allowing him to feed false information, hack, and otherwise corrupt an entire system if need be. Now, as to how I think this battle would go, this fight I don't think would be much of a. It's not going to be a shootout like it would for the other members, or or a hard fought one-on-one battle like the last one was with Boston Hunter. I think this one would be more of a tactical, like, chess piece type type of fight. It would be, can Fixer outmaneuver both of them and take them out one by one? And honestly, I think he'd be able to kill one of them, but I don't think he'd be able to kill both of them. Reason being is, between Tech's intellect and Echo's enhancements, as well as his knowledge of tactics and the fact that he used to be an ARC trooper in 501st, I think the two of them would be able to outmaneuver and outthink Fixer in this fight and take him out. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. Um, I think Fixer is more efficient and more ruthless and more to the point like the rest of his brothers in the in Delta Squad, but he is at a disadvantage here. He's to me, he's outnumbered. B, he's going up against two supercomputers essentially. I mean, there's not a combat strategy that Tech wouldn't know, and there's not a combat strategy that Echo wouldn't be able to execute on with his cybernetic enhancements. And I mean, like I said, I could see I could see Victor taking one of them out, or even Tech and Echo thinking a plan up to use one of them as bait to draw him out. That's essentially sacrificing their queen. So, to make a chess comment, um, sacrificing their queen so they can win. And like I said, I think Fixer would be able to kill one of them. He would be able to take one of them out, but focusing his attention on either Tech or Echo would be his downfall, because then one of them could outflank him and it's a wrap. So for those keeping score at home, I currently have it 2-0 with the Bad Batch. With this one, it was just more A, it was the numbers game, and B, I just think that both Echo and Tech would be able to would be able to outthink him. Although I do think it would be close. It wouldn't be. It would take some trying to come up with an effective strategy to allow Echo and Tech to take him out. But I promise you guys that this isn't going to be a clean sweep for the Bad Batch. Some people are going to die. Don't worry, that's coming. But that's the next 2 weeks. So, with that said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below. Let me know if I was right, if I was wrong. Let me know what y'all think. And yeah, until next time, may the force be with you.